G'day, wonderful listeners. This is episode 54 of Trev's Talk, and I'm your host, Trev. Last week, I left off mentioning how I needed to learn more about the processes at the Aboriginal school for connecting the students to the things they can get, like books or uniforms, through the Scholarships Award, and what manpower is needed at the collaborating school. I needed more understanding of the whole scholarship project so I can approach other schools in other states or territories to see if I can present them with a Moody Scholarship project to operate at their school. I mentioned also that I was doing a trip to Darwin and have a daughter working at a primary school there. Now, you know me fairly well by now, and if I see an opportunity, I grab it. So I've had a chat with Pete, the principal from my Aboriginal school, and he assured me that it would be not too difficult to replicate the scholarships we are doing here in Midland at other schools in other states or territories. Pete suggested working with the school chaplain, if they have one, and making him or her my colleague in a scholarship project. So let's just check out what has happened so far. Way back on the 18th of August 2010, that's 25 years ago, I had the future dream where I linked arms with a parent so their talented boy could do ballet leaps over those extended arms. Clearly, that dream was a clue to me to work with parents to help their children develop their talents. At the time, I wrote in my diary that I felt it was a clue to use the Medjugorje Centre to do scholarships. Then, fast forward to the 28th of January 2025, when an anonymous benefactor deposited a large sum of money into the Medjugorje Centre's bank account and said to me that the money was for me to use in any way I thought fit to give a hand up to anyone I considered worthy. I was given full and free control over those funds. When that generous benefactor gave me full control, I had the thought for the Medjugorje Centre to set up a scholarship fund for the kids at the local Aboriginal school. Having spent 10 years working at that school previously, I could clearly see that the scholarships would be of great benefit. Also, I recalled the time I spent back in 2017 when I was struggling to get the funds needed to purchase a minibus for transporting the kids at the Aboriginal school on all sorts of incursions and excursions. While reaching out to organisations who might help fund a vehicle, I stumbled upon a charitable organisation called Opening the Doors. In 2017, Opening the Doors was based in Victoria and had started up 12 years before, giving scholarships to a few Aboriginal students to help them to keep attending school with the aim of reaching Year 12. It has been a long-standing problem that Aboriginal students dropped out of school sometimes several years prior to finishing Year 12, and Opening the Doors was trying to improve that. When I got in touch with them out of interest in another matter, I found out that in 2017, 12 years after startup, the number of Aboriginal students assisted had increased from the original 20 students to over 700 students, with their budget for education assistance for the year being $600,000, and Year 12 retention rates had increased every year. Heaven knows how many students they are assisting now, but it must be a big number. All this information I learned back in 2017 impacted strongly on me. I saw how a scholarship type project can start small and grow into something truly magnificent. This opening the doors information, coupled with the future dreams of August 2010, came rushing back to me when the anonymous benefactor gave the Medjugorje Centre that generous funding in 2025. If you have been following my podcast, you will know I am always looking for clues and hints from Our Lady or the Holy Spirit. Let me give you this example of help from the spiritual world. Firstly, I was given the future dream of the ballet boy doing ballet leaps over his parents' and my extended arms in 2010. That made me lock in thoughts of scholarships. Secondly, in 2017, I learned of opening the doors over a different matter entirely. That also made me lock in thoughts of scholarships. Thirdly, in 2025, completely out of the blue, a benefactor gave me a large amount of money and the free use of it. That clinched the entire matter. I have absolutely been given guidance into starting the scholarship project. However, there are some things to yet put in place. There is the need to contact the Salvos to investigate their desire to join the scholarship project. There is also a need to check in with the Catholic and Anglican Archdiocese and ensure they have all the info they need to confirm their co-founding of the scholarship project. These things will have to wait for now, as I'm heading off to Darwin this morning, where I'll make some preliminary investigations into the possibility of doing a scholarship project with the school my daughter works at. So, I will pause here and resume this episode when I get back, hopefully refreshed and raring to go. Well, wonderful listeners, I am back in my office at Perth, very much refreshed and eager to continue the work of establishing our Scholarship Fund project. When in Darwin, I discovered two organisations specialising in education of Aboriginal youth at the school my daughter is employed by. One, the Clontarf Foundation, which specialises in help for educating boys, and two, the Stars Foundation, which specialises in help for educating girls. I am going to concentrate on scholarships here in Perth for now, but will soon get in touch with both foundations to see how we can work side by side for improving education of students at my daughter's school. I mentioned in previous episodes that I would try to get Vinnies to join our Moody Scholarship Fund by having a meeting with the state president, which I did before heading off to Darwin. When leaving for Darwin, I had not learnt whether Vinnies would accept my invitation to become a co-founder. So you can imagine my delight when I arrived home to Perth and, checking my emails, found one from Vinnies accepting my offer of becoming one of the 4 co-founders needed to properly establish the Moody Scholarship Fund. Fired with this encouragement, I prepared letters asking for meetings with the Anglican Archbishop, Most Reverend K. Goldsworthy, and Catholic Auxiliary Bishop, Most Reverend Don Sproxton, and sent them as attachments to emails. I got an email back from the Catholics giving tentative date and time for a meeting with Bishop Don in 19 days' time. He is currently on holidays, and the meeting is for when he returns to Perth. The Anglicans have not responded to my meeting request at this time, but I'm pretty sure I will get a meeting. I feel it would be a good idea to secure the Anglicans and Catholics as co-founders before approaching the Salvos, but may change my mind after learning who the Vinnies representative is going to be as we work together in future on the Scholarship Fund project. I'm not sure yet just who that will be. Well, wonderful listeners, we've come to the end of this episode. Thanks for your company, and I hope to have your company again next week. This is Trev, tuning out.